serious. I'm just recording real quick while I'm at the light. I'm on my way to clinic week, my first day, and I'll tell y'all about it at the, like, during lunch. Trying to find somewhere to eat, and it took me mad long to figure it out, and now I can't remember where the hell I parked. Like, I'm walking around in circles trying to figure out where my car is so I can get back to clinicals. Oh my God, I'm like the world's worst intern. All right, so quick recap of the first day before I head to Target. I have to go to Target, y'all, because I need a white coat because I don't have one, right? For my lab, we started with microbiology. So I bought a black one because why would I want to wear a white coat and potentially spill and stain stuff on my coat? That was my train of thought. So I didn't get a white lab coat. And I also just feel like a lab coat is not the same thing as having like my white coat as a student doctor. And we might not even get that from my class until like next year. I done lost the earring. I just realized that looking at this video. Dang. But hold on, because this is crazy looking. Okay, y'all, so day 2 is all done. I'm probably gonna take myself out to eat. I need to stop spending money because that's gonna be in another, well, no, I can just do this now. So the reason why I'm saying I need to stop going out to eat, not only because I'm broke, but because, y'all, I had to fund myself for clinical week. Okay, clinical week is not sponsored by the university. If you do come to my institution, you do have to pay for your own transportation, have your own transportation. I do believe that housing is provided, but the housing itself is not like the best. It's not in the greatest of conditions, and sometimes they will put you in housing that's like an hour and some change away from your clinical site. And overall, I just feel like the logistics of it is just poor. I had to go grocery shopping yesterday just for this week because I'm 2 hours away from my apartment. So it's not like I have, you know, I could have used my food that's already at the house. No, I had to go out and reshop. So that was like $80 right there. And just in general, it's one of those miscellaneous expenses of medicine. And quite honestly, it just goes into how medicine has a lot of barriers to access. And I just don't know if people really talk about that enough. Like, I would not recommend somebody getting into medicine that doesn't have the proper financial support to do so, or at least like a good credit score. Because I'm telling you right now, if my credit score wasn't as high as it is and I didn't have so many high credit lines for all of my cards, I don't know what I would do, because I would be stressed out right now because I would be in debt. I'm already in debt. So yeah, that's just really frustrating. But anywho, getting back to the actual what I've been doing in clinical week thus far, I don't believe I recorded myself on day 1. So this is day 2. I have been doing a lot of patient history taking, like a lot. I think I did maybe 6 today. And then I'm also learning how to read ECGs, how to actually do an ECG, which is an electrocardiogram for anybody who doesn't know what that stands for. What else have I been doing? I actually did look at a CBC with diff and was able to tell leukemias as well as iron deficiency anemias. So it's always just good to feel like what you learned in class actually has a clinical application, or you can at least read it. Because it was funny that my preceptor was like, yeah, we send this stuff to the hematologist for a reason. So once again, just kind of proving that I may not be an expert at every single topic, and that's okay, because in clinical practice, you're really going to be an expert at one if you decide to be a specialist. Like I told y'all, I'm interested in surgical specialties, so my job is going to be getting familiar with the musculoskeletal system. Like that's going to be my job. So yeah, but it was still nice to feel like, okay, I know me a little something. What else can I say about the day? Honestly, guys, it's really getting to know the routine of a physician. Like, what does a day-to-day actually look like? Non-romanticized, non-dramatized. And I actually like that because I feel as though I can appreciate some of the things that I wouldn't necessarily learn in a academic setting, such as like how to deal with sales reps, right? Medication and pharmaceutical sales reps. That's one aspect that I'm going to have to deal with as a future physician. You know, people coming to pitch their product to me, and, you know, the decisions that I would have to make for my patient's benefit. So it's just interesting to see another side of this outside of being in a classroom, other than the logistical annoyances and just the overall feelings of fatigue, because your girl, y'all know I'm not a morning person. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say for day 2. I do have some other updates to give you guys. You know what? I just give them to you now. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a little drained. Some other updates. I did run for multiple positions with SNMA, the Student National Medical Association. So I will be on the e-board for something. I will update you guys with what that is, probably in another vlog series, not this one, because this one is primarily dedicated to my clinical week. So that'll probably be in my cardiology block upload. And my cardiology block is 7 weeks, y'all. It is 7 weeks long. I am not gonna leave y'all hanging for 7 weeks. I'm gonna make sure that I put out something in that time, as well as updating my channel overall. I want to change the layout, the design, the colors, the theme music, the intro, like everything is gonna be changing on my channel, because I just want to spice it up. I just want to make it a little different. So yeah, that's going to come later. The details on which positions I have and what that even means and how it could relate to you guys. You know, maybe I'll be a person for you all to contact if you're interested in coming to UNC, especially as a minority student. And I think that's pretty much it for right now, y'all. I'm so sorry that I'm a little drained. I might go home, or not to my home, but to my Airbnb, because yeah, I got me an Airbnb. I might go to my Airbnb and give y'all another update after I eat. I just think I'm a little out of it right now. So yeah, lo siento. Yes. So I was calling. Y'all, it look like a butt.
You're so annoying.
Look what you got me eating, girl.
It's good. I promise. I promise you it's good.
Okay, y'all, so y'all have to forgive me because I look crazy. But I don't know what happened to my end of clinical week recap clip, but it got deleted. So I haven't been able to upload this, and I kept putting it off because I kept saying, you know, I'm gonna record when I look like a decent human being, but oh well, y'all finna get this video now because I want to upload before it's been 2 months since my last upload. So I'm just gonna talk about all the things that I learned and I experienced in the clinic. Just my thoughts, feelings, as I usually do. Overall, I think that it was a great learning experience, but it definitely solidified my feelings that I want to be a specialist. I do not want to be a family medicine, internal medicine care provider. Just because there's a lot of things that family medicine providers have to deal with that I don't think consciously I would be okay with. So, for example, and I actually rated them poorly on this on my actual submitted feedback to my school. A lot of the care providers there were very hesitant and suspicious, to say it nicely, when it comes to homeopathic therapies. And that's just a fancy way of saying medications that are not medications. So things like black sea moss or like black licorice root, just those natural herbal remedies that many people opt for, especially depending on your cultural background. But because they're not FDA approved and they're not well researched, I can see why a lot of physicians may not be in huge support of them or wanting their patients to rely on them. And that's pretty much what was communicated in the clinic while I was there. My preceptor was for real looking patients in the face and going like, yeah, that's nice that you want to take this CMOS, but that's not going to help you with your A1C levels. And I just think that's very negative because, well, for multiple reasons. So reason number one, yes, I understand that these items are not well regulated and they're not well researched. That doesn't mean that it's impossible for people to do their own research as well as to get into the practice of acquiring these ingredients and doing these things for themselves. I actually know a couple of people that like sell these natural and herbal remedies, and like, again, it's a cultural practice. So I just feel like you can't knock people for their knowledge base and what like they're capable of putting energy into. Like you don't know their life. So I just don't really like that. I also feel as though it's neglecting the development of good routine and good habit. Fine, let's say this black licorice root or whatever they're taking doesn't necessarily help them with their specific A1C or whatever levels, but the fact that they're developing a habit of taking this and they're intrinsically motivated to develop this habit of taking these homeopathic therapies, I think you can build off of that, right? Like, okay, fine. You want to take this sea moss in the morning? Well, after you take it, how about we go for a walk for 5 minutes. You can use that as a platform to start centering healthy lifestyle choices around that one homeopathic or natural remedy that they're opting for. So I just feel like that just was a wasted opportunity, as well as just the language that was being used and the lack of receptiveness to alternative therapies. I don't like that. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm a person that believes in all of those things, because I don't really know much about them. I do use a lot of organic and things of that nature on my skin, right? I know that seems to be more accepted in the world of dermatology, these organic and natural remedies over like acids or whatever chemicals. So I just don't understand why like the rest of medicine like isn't getting with that. Even in a surgical sense, there's a lot of procedures that you can do that are considered non-op procedures for sports injuries, which you all know that I'm interested in, such as like rich platelet injections into people's tears. So I actually was in the clinic and my mentor was giving one of those rich platelet shots into somebody's labrum, which is like on the side of their hip. She was a student athlete. So I feel as though there are areas in which, as I said, these alternative routes are being gladly accepted and gladly performed. And I just hope that all of medicine kind of follows suit, because I do believe that the more that we start to realize there is always different ways to do stuff, the more necessary. It's more necessary to be open-minded about all things. So you would think that's a no-brainer, but as I said, like I was literally witnessing physicians just shut it all the way down, and I don't like that. I also feel as though I would have a personal moral issue with trying to counsel patients to take these very, very expensive medications, long lists of medications, knowing that they're gonna have to continue to see me and we're gonna have to keep having the same conversation over and over and over and over again. And I'm gonna have to be pretty much like convincing them, right? Convincing them to live their life in a certain way. And I just feel like, who am I to dictate that? You know, and before y'all come for me and say, you're in the medical field, like this is what you signed up to do. This is not what I signed up to do. This is very much so a reason why I want to specialize. Once again, like all of these are reasons why I want to specialize, is what I observed in this clinic, because I feel like you have to let people live out their life the way that they want to live out their life. Whether or not it is quality is really person dependent. What one person takes as happiness and as healthful and healthy living is not the same thing as what another person believes. That's like having a debate with somebody who has a well-balanced diet versus somebody who has a vegan diet. So I just think if you're happy and comfortable and you're not doing things that actively destroy your life, such as having a substance abuse issue, I just don't know how much I can argue down somebody about their lifestyle choices. A good example of this, a famous example of this, is the case of Bob Marley. If you guys are not familiar, I believe that he passed away, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he passed away due to not agreeing to a surgery which would have I believe amputated his foot or his toe or something, somewhere along his lower extremity. And, you know, for religious reasons, I believe he said no. But I think the ongoing debate is that had he opted to have the surgery done, he would have lived, because then his condition would not have worsened, et cetera, et cetera. And we are actually trained to think about these things from a religious aspect, but I do think that medicine, especially me being in medical school, we could do better with trying to understand some of the cultural and, you know, just personal held beliefs of our patients, and knowing when to balance the line between I'm giving you professional advice versus I'm trying to be the author of your story. That is a very, very thin wire. And with the specialties I'm interested in, that's not a wire I have to worry about, because by the time you see me, baby, you've elected for this. You have decided that you wanted this for yourself. You have signed on the dotted line, you signed the papers, and you're here on my operating table. So I just don't know, again, if that's something that I personally want to deal with on a daily basis, just for my own mental sanity. So shout out to all the people who want to do internal medicine and who want to be primary care physicians, because it is I could see how it could be a very like mentally taxing field. in a very personally involved field, because these are patients that my preceptor was seeing for years, right? These are people's like my preceptor is their doctor of 13 plus years. So that's good that you get to have those long-standing relationships with your patients. Like, I think that is a huge positive. But I don't know, I feel like you can build relationships in any specialty. I think it's just stereotypical crap that people think, like, just because you're a surgeon, you can't be close with your patients. Like, who told you that? Personally, with me being interested in sports medicine, like, baby, I'm trying to come to your games. You know, give me some tickets. I'm trying to be on the court side. I'm trying to hang out and see how you're doing and make sure your shoulder or whatever I repaired is holding up. I want to make sure that you prosper in your career. I want to cry when you win something. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be a part of your journey beyond just, oh, I repaired you and you're gone. And I think that that's a personal choice. I don't believe that that's specialty dependent of, you know, some specialties are just destined to not have good relationships with their patients. Like, no, y'all are choosing to do that. Another thing that I've noticed in the clinic, the PR reps, there was a lot of PR reps. There was a lot of pharmaceutical reps that came in trying to like push new medications. And y'all, I don't really like pharmacology. My pharmacology coils are probably my least favorite. I understand them the quickest, but it is a lot. And I just feel like this leads me to a larger and grander discussion of why medicine is not as interdisciplinary as it needs to be, because there are pharmacists that literally go to school to study these things, and those are the people that the pharmaceutical reps should be going to talk to. Like, these are the people with the know-how. These are the people with the knowledge. While yes, I need to provide you information on whether or not this specific medication would be useful in my clinic specifically, at the end of the day, when it comes to like knowing what is a better drug or like what makes sense, is kind of out of my depth. And I just really, and I think I said this in a previous upload, I really dislike that they try to make doctors like jacks of all trades, because I do think that there becomes a muscle memory to it. Like, eventually I'm gonna know which medications I need to give for emergent situations. But when it comes to all of those like nitty gritty small details, like, what did those people who went to pharmacy school go to school for? Like, why are we not utilizing these people? The math is not mathing for me. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting, because again, like, that was time that my preceptor could have been using for himself to like mentally take a breather, or like to go, you know, talk to his patients, or to go and take care of personal issues. But instead he had to be upstairs for hours, you know, going back and forth with pharmaceutical reps on why or why not he was not going to be, you know, using that drug. So I was like, that's an interesting side of medicine that I didn't really think about. On some more positive notes, because I keep naming all of the negative stuff. On a more positive note, something that I really liked being in the clinic was having the ability to do a lot of different small, not procedures, but small tasks. So I actually did get to do a EKG or an ECG. So I got to put the leads on somebody. I got to observe an eye exam. So an ocular exam, somebody taking a picture of their retina and behind the retina. Blood pressure readings. I got to see some immunizations. I did not do any. I got to see them though. And just kind of realizing how much stuff is actually taken care of within that one space, even though it was not a large hospital. Y'all, I'm from the city, so I'm used to seeing very, very large, multi-facility institutions, medical institutions, Johns Hopkins, University of Maryland, like they're all right around my neighborhood. So I do sometimes forget like what all can actually be done in a smaller clinic. And they even had like a cardiologist there. So that just was nice to think about in terms of where I would like to practice medicine one day. Because I have always been a huge pusher of like, I'm going to be in the city, and I'm still going to be in the city because of personal reasons. But it just allowed me to kind of open up my mind into understanding like what these more smaller suburban and maybe even rural clinics look like. I actually got to see a rural clinic today. My PCC instructor, she works at one. It's a family home care center, like an FQHC or something, some acronym. I'll correct myself. So it was a literal one-stop shop. There was a dental office, there was a pharmacy right there. There was a WIC, woman and infant child care center. There was a Saturday center. Like everything was in this one building. And I think that that's pretty helpful because for a lot of patients, especially lower income patients or patients that don't have insurance, uninsured patients, it probably is more beneficial to have everything in one go, like one area, even if you can't get scheduled for one day, because I'm sure that that's a lot of, luck in terms of how time and scheduling works with the provider. But knowing that this is where you go, that you don't have to be driving all over the place and worrying about transportation because it's literally all right in this one spot. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, once again, noticing how close the physicians and the other care providers were with the patients, building personal bonds and personal connections. So all in all, it definitely left me with an appreciation of this type of space. When I go back, so I actually go back to clinical week again. I'm not sure if I said this already, in February. By then I will have done cardiology, so I should be able to do a bit more in terms of like physical exams, cardiology exams, pulmonary exams, physical assessments. I should probably be able to read an ECG now. Should be able to. And just do a lot more hands-on stuff because by the time I go back, I'll actually have finished respiratory as well, I think. So again, just getting a lot more skills under my belt. That's exciting. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say because again, this was supposed to be just kind of like a vlog upload of how my clinical week went. I do really need to work on asking how recording and such goes in clinical spaces so that way I can get some visuals on like what I actually do versus just talking to you guys. So please hold me to that. Like somebody comment the next time I make an upload and be like, Jeanette, you said that you were gonna do this, so get on it, girl. And hopefully that goes well moving forward. I don't really have much else to say. My next upload is going to be my recap on my cardiology block. Y'all will see how that has just beat me up. I have a lot of vulnerable moments recorded in that video. Wow, look at the pimple on my face. Yeah, I have a lot of vulnerable moments recorded in that upload because y'all, cardiology is very, very hard. This was the hardest block I've ever done in my life. I'm saying in my life, like I've been in medical school for years, but this was one of the hardest concepts that I've ever had to learn in my life. I think that's a better way of saying it. And yeah, hopefully, again, by the end of that upload, you'll hear me say that I passed, all smiles, no tears, because there was a lot of tears. There was a lot of tears in the upload. Yeah, you're going to see that. No shame. All transparency over here. I think that's about it. I might record over the holidays. I might not. I don't know, because I'm not really doing anything. And don't forget to just let me know what you guys would like to see from me. You know what I mean? Like this is supposed to be a glimpse into how medical school is going to be for you guys. So whatever questions you guys have about my day-to-day, anything, let me know so I can try to get it on this channel. This channel is for you guys. I always say that. Thank you so much for all of the likes, love, comments, shares, support. And if you are not liking, loving, commenting, sharing, and supporting, I don't know what to tell you because I think I'm pretty lit. I think that's about it. Adios.